to episode 2. So, yeah, basically, I'm just going to pick up right when I left off. So, yeah, I was talking about this new series I've just started, The Prince of Nothing. Starting with The Darkness That Came Before by R. Scott Bakker. Basically, the pitch I was given for the series was that it begins in the prologue with this monk basically expressing how he wants to learn to perfectly predict human behaviour in sort of like a you know, AI is a big topic right now, sort of like an idealised AI version of AI I would say, because, you know, let's face it, we are definitely not there yet. So, okay, that's fair. With when to turn PvP on when there's a bit more, it'll be a bit more fair. But yeah, so basically, for most of the book, he's not in it. And then after a while, the same character emerges, having learned to do just that. Having learned to perfectly, like, manipulate people, basically. And that particular character has been extremely uncomfortable to read about so far. It's sort of, I mean, it's uncomfortable to think about the type of person who just perfectly knows what to say to get you to do what they want, you know? So yeah, I've not found a cave yet, which is a bit concerning. Is sea counter still a thing? Looks like this way is. Oh, there's more entities this way. Oh, I should probably check this aloud. Well, until this just doesn't work anymore and I just made myself look stupid. Okay. Oh, that's just a noise. Not. But yeah, so, uncomfortable character to read about, and he's very much, yeah, very, like, manipulative. Oh, the sea counter's nowhere near as high now. Weird. Oh. Socialism might be on now. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so it's sort of very concerned with this central question of sort of, do we have free will? Are we in control of our own actions? And that's a big debate in philosophy, and quite an interesting one, I think, because I've never really subscribed to the side that there's no such thing as free will. Also, just as a side note, I would absolutely love for a spec to join my call right now, and I'm just like, hey, you want to discuss free will with me? But yeah, yeah, so I guess my summary of my position would just be that whether or not we have free will is a question so heavily dependent on how you define free will that it's very difficult to it's very difficult to debate. So every time I've sort of debated with friends about this, we've come to this inevitable conclusion that, well, maybe we don't have free will the way you define it, but we have something, which is what I define as free will. I don't know if I'm making any sense. This was quite a tangent to go on from, like, books I'm reading. But yeah, so basically we might not have yeah, it's sort of, the conceit of the book is that we don't have free will insofar as every action we take is predetermined by who we are before then. Our brain is hardwired to do a certain thing. You don't decide your actions. Your body and your brain is, so your brain is basically hardwired to decide your actions. Oh, nice. We got a diamond. But yeah, your brain is basically hardwired to decide your actions, and only after it's decided what you do to come up with the reasoning for it. Which I find a bit of a scary thought. But it's a very interesting thought to consider. Also, damn, yeah, I just need a cave. Like, there should be no noises at all. Perfect silence. And yeah, I guess we've gone off the sea counter a bit. Let's start digging this way. But yeah, sorry, it's hard to play Minecraft while keeping my, like, free will debate going in my head and, like, turning it into something coherent. Let's make a chest plate of this. But yeah, but it is a scary thought, and I won't deny that you're not deciding what you do, your brain is telling you what to do and then tasking you to come up with the reasoning behind it. And I do think being aware of that is, like, broadly good for you and helpful. Because I mean, it's not that it solves the problem of free will, per se, but if I'm aware that I'm coming up with, like, my opinions just based on nothing, and then coming up with the reasoning for them, you can sort of challenge that. And, you know, a pure determinist would argue that that's just your brain, kind of, doing things a bit different, deciding to do things a bit differently. But, you know, it's still helpful, I think. Whether it's you doing that or not, it's still good to be doing it. But yeah, so to get back to the book, it's both an interesting question of sort of this, do we have free will, and when a person emerges who can perfectly manipulate everything, who knows exactly what you want, who knows exactly what to say to make you do what he wants, how does humanity collectively respond to that? You know, like, this person has this person just made themselves God? Like, what can you do? How do you fight this? If the person is... Oh, nice. Okay. I'm going to turn Fulbright off now, I think. Oh, no, it was already off. What? Strange. But yeah, now this person does exist, how do you fight him? The only thing I can think of, personally, is, like, if someone knows the outcome of every action, if someone's, like, basically omniscient like that, ooh, a mineshaft, the only way to fight them would be to put them in a situation where that can't help them, where 100% of outcomes results in death. And then we get into the whole debate of, like, is the universe fully deterministic, or is the universe, random at its core? And yeah, I think that too is a very interesting question, and you know, I am not a scientist. I could not tell you which of these things is the case. But as far as I'm aware, as far as my more sciencey friends say, scientists nowadays are believing that the universe is much more likely to be truly random, rather than like deterministic and everything's predictable. And the central reason for that, I'm not going to go into this because I know fucking nothing, but the central reason for that is quantum mechanics, basically. But that's a digression to my digression of my digression, so let's... But yeah, that's, I think the book so far I've been enjoying quite a bit. It's got a few problems. I don't think the author's very good at writing women. Like, there's not been many in the book, and those there has been are very kind of stereotypical. I think it's coming from a good place. I think it's coming from a place of, like, wanting to criticise patriarchal society and, like, how it makes everyone miserable, but it sort of comes across as, like, a bit of male fantasy at times. But, you know, it's not perfect. But I think I am willing to look past that to engage with the genuinely very interesting ideas that this author has. I can't turn off Fulbright. That's odd. Yeah. But yeah, so I don't think that's and yeah, the rest of it's fairly Malazan-esque fantasy world building where it's like you have tiny vertical slice into this world and basically impossible to tell. Like, you know, you'll get like a ton of names rattled off at you and it will never specify like anything about them. So, you know, the X Empire was comprised of Y people, but then Z happened. I love that stuff personally, but I understand that a lot of people don't. Still laggy. Another diamond. Okay. We actually, Somnica and I last season didn't actually get anything from this game mode, so I'm quite glad to see it's actually doing something this time. Okay, I don't care about evenly splitting this iron anymore, as long as it gets cooked. Yes. I think I'll dispense with the second apocalypse Prince of Nothing talk now. Is it? Wait, is it? Okay. Funnily enough, I now don't even remember what the series is called. I think it's Second Apocalypse, because I think it's Second Apocalypse, but a bit of my brain screaming like Prince of Nothing. One second. Where's my book? It's the Prince of Nothing, yeah. I think Second Apocalypse is maybe the other series set in the same world. Or like an overall name or something for the setting or something. But yeah. I'm not far enough into the book to really tell you if I'd recommend it at this stage, but it's certainly interesting, is what I will say. It's got a very nice hook, it's got a very interesting proposition, and I just quite like reading about philosophy. It's, yeah, I think the sort of sentiment I've seen around it is that in the same way you can tell that the Book of the Fallen was written by by an anthropologist, you can tell that this series is written by a philosopher. And I think that's, to me, where most of the interesting stuff in literature comes from, is sort of writers blending their influences and the stuff they enjoy. So yeah, so I was quite interested in this series from the very beginning, and yeah, I'm just hoping it delivers on all the cool setups it's had so far. Yeah, but that was certainly a track of thoughts to go down while commentating. I don't know where to go from here. It's midway through episode 2, and we've already been through Does Free Will Exist? And I mean, ultimately, I guess with the free will question, I don't think it really matters. You know, it doesn't change who I am or how I'll act, whether or not it's free will, whether or not I'm doing it of my own accord or not. So ultimately, it's sort of, you know, it's a cop-out answer, but it's sort of both easier and healthier for me, I think, to just not really concern myself with questions like that. I know that not everyone can do that, and I certainly had trouble when I first came across this whole question, when I first came across Laplace's demon, as it's called. The question of, are you really in control of your own actions? I think we're good for food. Not finding any much interesting stuff in this mineshaft though. No gold so far, no diamonds, no chests even. No mobs either. Oh, well, speak of the devil. Come on. That was a one vein. Well, I guess. I can't decry capitalism and then complain when that happens. But yeah, so what the books have I been reading? That's my fallback plan every time I don't know what to talk about. Oh, I can make bow and arrows as well. That's very useful to have. And yeah, I also have all the stuff I need for an anvil. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. And arrows. Oh. Ooh, first death. GG. Isn't Joshua one of the super, like, I can't say his max health anymore, but I'm pretty sure he's one of the ones who has, like, very low max health, so that's kind of worrying, because I think I'm more confident fighting the, like, lower tier players with a lot of hearts than the higher tier players with fewer. Okay, arrows. This is going to be plenty because double arrows is on. 48, yeah, that's good for now, I think. This is a bit of a terrible cave, to be honest. Quite disappointing. Okay, and that's the end of the episode, so I will see you in the next one. Maybe a little less existential.